I'm supposed to say something, right? Jigweave Harmajan. Hello. Good morning. Agus Filteroidistak. Welcome in. It's Misha Drolling. I am the Wren. And will to Gama. Are you well? Good morning. It is the morning. And since I can't smoke in the house, I have to go out to the car. So, the thought this morning, upon getting out of bed, was about Imbolc and how people celebrate it, the customs, and I talked about doing a video on that before, but what came to mind was this idea of ritual proficiency that I think is extremely important, because it's a giant irk to see people working off of paper. If you're working with a format or a structure, your lines should be memorized. If you're working with a format or a structure, then you're working with a structure and it should be organized and memorized, which means there should be work done, as practice makes mastery, for proficiency. Not just show up and read some lines off a paper and say I celebrated a holiday. If you're doing that, are you ever really going to feel it? Are you going to be a part of it? Are you going to understand it? I can understand that if it's new, or if you're new to a coven or a grove or what have you, you know? But work should be memorized. But on the other end of the other side of that coin, not all rituals and ceremonies have to be formalized into a structure like that. Maybe the structure itself is more loose net, albeit there's a structure. It's just not as formalized. Like, your lines don't have to be memorized, but the concept of what your part of the ritual is, understood or felt, and you are free to say what you want at that moment if it's in context to your part. Like an actor, given, freedom of the floor, they can ad-lib, they can speak from the heart, they can say what they want, but as long as it's in context to their part within the ritual at that moment. And it's a little bit different than an open circle. An open circle, when you invite people over and you're celebrating, is not always a ritual format. But a lot of covens, a lot of druid orders, there is a ritual format, and people are reading off of paper. How do you feel anything if you're reading off of paper? How are you paying attention to the actual energy or the nuances? There should be the ritual leaders, the people that are running it. And this is like a aside here. It wasn't the druid's job to run the ritual. It was the druid's job to oversee, to make sure that no mistakes were made during ritual, not to actually run it. They had to be present for sacrifices. They had to be present at ritual, not run it, not lead it. Ritual ceremonies are about, in the Gaelic culture, in Irish paganism, in Celtic paganism, are about the people, the tribe. the family. Head of household should be running it, with help of, midwives and, craftsmen. The ritual is about the people. Now, the druid should have a role. The sacrificers should have a role. The cupbearers should have a role. Maybe you're going to use the exact same ritual format for every ritual. And then in place of the holiday, you pull one holiday out, you put the other holiday in. Kind of like writing an essay. You have your introduction, you start with the body of the work. You have a conclusion, it's something simple. Well, the body of the work would be that festival. You get your ritual outline for Imbolc, right? This person says basically the same thing. This person basically says the same thing. This is when we should talk about format another time in depth. But these things that are happening happen every ritual. So then when you get to this section here, you just swap out Imbolc and you'd put in Bealtaine. You put in Bealtaine, and then you just have to know your parts for that. And then have a ritual practice. Get together as a coven. Get together as a grove. Get together as an order, or whatever you call your group. I feel redundant saying that all the time. But you get together for ritual practices so everybody knows their part. If you want to run it in such a way that everybody learns their part and they have to have it memorized, it's just practice. In Freemasonry, it's word for word. You have to know your station, your chair. You have to know your, you have to know your part. You have to be proficient at it, and you have to have it memorized. It's easy to regurgitate something if you've gone over it over and over and over and over. And that way the words flow automatically. And then because they automatically flow, your mind is allowed to process them differently. And then when you're present in the work, it means something a little bit differently. So I would say there are formal rituals that you would want to have everybody on the same page, practicing over and over and over, and then being proficient at their work, so there is a form of mastery. That is a great thing. People should be doing this. If you don't want to do that, get together anyway, have some coffee, have some tea, have some shortbread, what have you. Get together, practice the ritual, and instead of having it line for line, word for word, read through it together and practice it, actually, like the movements, and practice the ritual in such a way that you know your part because you can feel your part. You know the message of your part and what it's trying to convey. Like I mentioned before, an actor that has freedom of the floor, they can ad-lib. So your part is this section, and you're saying these specific things about the gods, and you've read it a bunch of times, so you kind of know your words, but you're not going to commit to memorization, but you're going to commit to feeling it, to understanding it, so that when you deliver it, it comes from your heart. That's a little bit different than the third option, which is just complete freedom of the floor with no context. Your part comes up, you don't really know what it's about, so you're just going to say something. That's a little bit different. It can work. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been active in the giant umbrella term of paganism for 30 years. I would say formally for 25. So that would, and when I say formally, I mean by initiation and education. So while the rest of you guys, when you were 18 years old, out doing what you're doing, I was doing that, but I was also raised differently. Privately, secretly, with some weird stuff. And this pipe is clogged. Can you hear it gurgling? Moisture. The reason for ritual proficiency is the reason for ritual. Ritual is supposed to flow. The concept of ritual is like a stream bed or a current that you step into, and you ultimately unite with everyone there in this shared bond of understanding and flow. That's why things are cyclical. That's why they go seasonally, sunwise, Jisha. There's a flow. Okay, this pipe has had it, and I've had it with that. That's why you just grab another one. You're stepping into a stream bed, a current, a vibration, an energy that actually has a directional flow. That's why the people present in the group have to be at harmony with each other. In the last video, I was talking about gatekeeping because of Jasmine's amazing content. Gatekeeping allows there to be harmony within the organization. If there's no harmony amongst the members, then the energy does not flow the way it should or could be flowing. That's why there's an initiation process. So once all the members are on the same page and following all rules, because there is a hierarchy when you belong to a group, once these members are in harmony with each other, they should all be vibrating at the same energy. That's how union and fellowship and bonds and these things work. You know, you get a coven of witches, instead of one witch doing the work, and there's an entire coven doing the work that one witch would be doing, it's just amplified, right? That's how energy is. It's just being amplified. The more people dancing a rain dance, I shouldn't have to say anything else on that. There is a need, not a want or a desire. There is a need to do this work. Bloody hell. Yes, where was I? Everybody's in harmony. Everybody is on the same vibration. You all step into this current together, this flow of the ritual. You know, you're all fulfilling the roles within that ritual structure, and then it's an experience that you can walk away from that you would say is holy or sacred, special, important. Important. I don't like when people say important. Like they place a D instead of a T. Important. It's important. It's important. We used to speak putting H's in our words in America a long time ago. I think they stopped doing it around the 50s, where they would pronounce the H's in the what and the where, the why. Now I think it's mainly just regional and I don't know. Anyways, how did we get here? You can tell it's morning, right? The importance of ritual proficiency is to allow all members to have a shared experience. Not just a personal experience, but an experience that they all came together, they all experienced the same thing, and they all can at least say in their shared experience, it was special and important to them. Now, you might walk away from ritual and 2 or 3 of the members felt differently, but they still felt a something. Maybe they didn't share in the collective experience on the same level, which goes to say no one's actually going to experience what you experience, but on some vibration, you'll have a shared experience. That's if and only if there is proficiency in your rituals. Now, how you define your proficiency for mastery of this ritual format, that's up to you. Now, obviously, if you're solitary, here is the crux. These holidays, well, most of them, 4 of them actually, are meant for a community, a tribe, a family, a people. Celebrating them on your own, you might not have a choice. You might be out in the middle of nowhere by yourself, or yes, get online. Some people celebrate these rituals online. Yes, it's not the same, but you still have a feeling of being a part of something instead of just being alone. And if you're solitary, here's an idea. Celebrate it by yourself. Don't worry about the ritual flow. That will come to you because you're alone and you're tapping into the divine on your own without having to worry about the harmony of others. Speak freely, speak poetically, speak with inspiration, speak from the heart. Worry more about honoring the ancestors and the gods through the customs and the traditions that we have without adding outside romantic foreign influence into the culture on these 4 holidays. And then jump online and see what organizations are celebrating it and posting it via video. And you can just be a part of that. And that will kind of fulfill this little role of community and fellowship in a way. I know organizations like the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids, OBOD. I'm pretty sure that they still do a lot of online rituals. And you can just, I think, click on and observe and kind of do your own thing at home. This tobacco is very moist. It's actually an aromatic blend. It's not something that I usually smoke. Wait, hey, oh, the lights went out in Georgia. It's like this chocolatey coffee espresso blend. Figured it was fitting for the morning since I'm having some chai tea. I love coffee, but coffee doesn't like me. Tell you what. I think another thing to be said about ritual proficiency and the harmony of your organization would be, how often do you guys meet on the regular? Your organization has to be like family. There's no sense of having a locked gate, a gate-kept tradition initiation process, if the members aren't family. And I don't mean by blood. Maybe you're in a coven, you got a bunch of witchy sisters, right? You guys better be in touch like on the regular, at least meeting, twice a month. I wonder if anybody can tell me this, and I doubt Jasmine's going to be watching my videos because she's busy, but any other witches out there, female witches, that is, if you're working with your coven, now this is personal, but I want to know, if you girls are working together in your coven, does your, how do you say it? Do you guys all flow at the same time? Do you all link? Do you match in such a way that everybody's going through their cycle at the same time? I've heard that mothers and daughters can often have that experience, or even a bunch of girls, like sisters that live in the house together. So if you're working closely with your coven, do you guys all flow at the same time? And if you do, that energy would be crazy because you're working with the moon sometimes, and it would be a definite sign that the harmony of your organization, your group, is actually in sync. For men, it's a bit different. And anybody that tells you that men don't have cycles is full of shit. Because we do. So yeah, it's been long enough. I think you guys get the point. If I don't end this soon, I'll probably start rambling. There's those, to recap, there's I think there was about 3 ritual formats you could work with. The very structured, line for line, word for word, work together, memorize your part, know it, learn it, live it, be it, right? Secondary one would be, study it, feel it, deliver what you're supposed to deliver from the heart. And the third is just wide open. Each has their place. Don't get me wrong. One is not better than the other. But proficiency is important. My good friend and author Robert Barton, who wrote the book Rites of Driocht, Dance of Oak and Wren, found on Amazon, go get it, came up with a ritual tool that you might creatively like to use or change for the benefit of your group. It's a string, a long string that's hung in the ritual space. And on the string, either tied to it or attached to it, are little trinkets, read from the bottom to the top, kind of like omas, right? And these little trinkets kind of represent the different stages of the ritual. So for the people that are working in a certain way, they know that this part means that. Maybe there's a part of the ritual where you're talking about the tides or the ocean, or Mananan Maklir. Maybe there's a seashell tied there. Maybe there's something to do with on Morgan, and maybe there's a crowfoot or a raven foot, or some black feathers or something tied there, and you know that, oh, we're on this section now. It's in view for everybody to see. So when you're working and you're saying these things, you know what section is coming up. You know if it's your part or not. You know what songs you're going to be singing. It's a visual aid that you guys develop, create, and decorate to be present in the ritual space for your very basic outline of the ritual that you use. It's just an idea. Any day, I wish you well. Hopefully you have a great day. I will be celebrating my son Kieran's 10th birthday today. And he is Daddy's little teapot. I call him a teapot because, oh geez, when he was little, that kid would boil over and scream for a very long time. He was a screamer, like nothing would work. He was miserable. And I was the stay-at-home dad and had to deal with that. But I wouldn't change it for the world. So yeah, have a beautiful day. Stay blessed. And if you can't be excellent to each other, swipe past them. All right, Slongaful. Bye for now. Cheers.